We're here before and stayed. Thank you. We will have the call to order, an invocation, and Pledge of Allegiance with Reverend George Reconowitz from St. John's Episcopal, and the Pledge of Allegiance with the Police Explorers and Councilwoman Sierra. Please stand with me.
Please bow your heads in prayer. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office in this, the city of Homestead, the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. Grant, O God, that your holy and life-giving spirit may so move every human heart, and especially the hearts of the people of Homestead, that barriers which divide us may crumble, suspicions disappear, and hatreds cease. That our divisions being healed, we may live in justice and peace. Almighty God, to whom we most account for all our powers and privileges, guide the people of Homestead in the election of officials and representatives, that by faithful administration and wise laws, the rights of all may be protected and our nation be enabled to fulfill your purposes. All this we ask in the name of our God and Creator. Amen.
Amen.
Forward, march. Left wheel, march. Honor guard, halt. March.
Kindly join me in pledging allegiance to this great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Face. Forward, march.
Thank you. You may be seated. We're going to do a little reversal on the presentations, and we're going to move up kids for patches because we have a lot of little girls who are getting very tired, and so we're going to move up kids for patches, the junior board presentation. Please come forward. Would the Kids for Patches leaders please come over here? We'll get a picture over there in a minute. Kaylee, are you going to address us, Kaylee? Did you want to speak first? Okay. Patches is a 501c3 not-for-profit nursing care center in Florida City for children with extreme medical needs. There's an amazing group of volunteers, and who are kids we refer to as the Kids for Patches Kids. This is the junior board. And I know I'm so proud of them. They've been to Kiwanis, they've done fundraisers, and so the members of this board are between ages of 4 and 13. And these children are already a part of Patches in one way or another. They have either helped their parents or their grandparents raise money for Patches, or they have come to work with their moms. They've played with the children at Patches for the day. And these children have always been the ones who followed along behind the adults. And they are now the ones leading the way. We're so proud of them. Early in June, under the direction of Sharon Fields, and this is the woman on the floor taking pictures, the kids attended the first board meeting and complete with an agenda. They talked about the ways that they could raise money for the needs of the kids at Patches. June 24th, Kids for Patches kids were invited to the Kiwanis Luncheon to speak about Patches. They sold all of their homemade treats they called Sweet Nuggets, which we all bought, every one of them. And which they learned how to make themselves. They also sold some Patches t-shirts, and this was their first public speaking and their first public selling experience. They were very excited and they were encouraged by that day's activities. Mr. Curcio from the Capri restaurant met with the junior board and he offered to help them raise money for the kids at Patches. He offered them Wednesday lunches from Capri for $5. For every lunch ordered, Mr. Jim donates back to the junior board. These lunches continue now, even though the junior board is back in school. So the kids also had a very good yard sale. Donations came by the truckloads from many generous hearts within the community, and items sold very quickly because they were priced right. So and by the way, these kids, I want you to know, the parents just don't do the work. They come, they work, they price the stuff, it's not just Sharon and the moms and dads, they really work. And prior to August 12th, the junior board, they sold because they assembled a wish list from the founders of Patches. On the 12th, the kids decided how they were going to spend the $950, which is what they made in 6 weeks of fundraising. I need to hire you guys. And after their expenses. After they reviewed the wish list and a lot of discussion, they made their choices. They decided on a flat screen TV for the wheelchair room, 2 learning laptops, 2 mobiles with music and lights for the infants' cribs, 1 musical kaleidoscope for toddlers, and the remainder would be spent on diapers in various sizes. Well, I'm so blessed. I am really very, very proud of these kids. They really have the heart to help the children of Patches. And it's been a learning experience as we've all watched them. It's been a learning experience for us too, to see how these little children can see other children and reach out to those children. So I would like to call them up, and we have Zachary Roth, age 9, the junior board. Zachary. We have Tajay Seals. How do you say your name? Kadasia Seals. Dallas Barnett. Jada Dawkins. Sarah Dawkins. Jenna Garrett. And I want to say a little bit, and Kaylee Fricky. I want to say something about Kaylee. She has attended every single meeting at every event. So I would like Kaylee to receive the plaque on behalf of Patches. Thank you so much, Kaylee. In addition to the certificates, we have the Kids for Patches board plaque, and I'd like to present this to Kaylee. And we'll go up right now for a photo. Thank you so much. Come on, girls. And Zach. One guy, sorry, I am in such trouble. Thank you. Thank you for waiting so long. I'm so sorry. And I want to congratulate the parents, because we all know that these children could not contribute their time the way they do if it wasn't for dedicated moms and grandmoms too. So, and grandpas. I see grandpa there too. I don't want to get in trouble with the men. I just know I am. So thank you all. Thank you for coming.
Mayor, should you mention your spaghetti dinner Saturday?
Yes, yes, please. We have a Patches Spaghetti Dinner this Saturday night at the Women's Club in Homestead. Starting at, is it 6:30? 5 o'clock. Starting at 5 o'clock, but it continues till 9 o'clock, right, Sue? Yes, 5 to 9, Patches Spaghetti Dinner at the Women's Club of Homestead. Thank you. Bye, guys. Now, it is my very, very distinct pleasure to bring up to you now Lieutenant Colonel Thomas B. Davis. Come on up, Tom. Jesse, come here. I was invited last week to attend an award presentation on behalf of many of our wonderful men and women in the military who received many awards. And so there were very many meritorious service awards, but there was only one Bronze Star winner. Only one, and he happens to live in Homestead, and he happens to be my neighbor too, so I'm very blessed. We decided to do a proclamation for Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Davis. Whereas Lieutenant Colonel Thomas B. Davis was born and raised in South Florida and lives with his wonderful wife, Jessica. He graduated from Miami Christian High School, Miami-Dade College, and is a distinguished military graduate from University of Miami ROTC with a degree in politics and public affairs. And whereas Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Davis was commissioned as an infantry officer of the U.S. Army in 1983. He pursued his legal career and earned a law degree from St. Thomas University. Then he began his private practice in 1996. He entered the Air Force Reserve as Chief Public Affairs 482nd Fighter Wing and Homestead Air Reserve Base in 2002. And whereas Lieutenant Colonel Thomas B. Davis has made valuable contributions to many organizations, including Community Partnership for the Homeless, American Red Cross, and Service to the Armed Forces. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Davis has been recognized as the most effective commander in the 4 years of tenure of American Forces Network Afghanistan by the commander. Combined Joint Task Force 101, he was the first commissioned officer to be awarded the Bronze Star Medal at Homestead Air Reserve Base while serving in Operation Iraqi Freedom or Operation Enduring Freedom for disregarding his personal safety. And by the way, Jessica, you didn't hear that. Disregarding an innovative communicative approach while serving as Commander, American Forces Network Afghanistan. I'm so proud of you, Tom. Now therefore I, Linda Bell, the Mayor of the City of Homestead, Florida, and Homestead City Council, do hereby proclaim Monday, September 21st, 2009, as Lieutenant Colonel Thomas B. Davis Day in Homestead. Please join me in recognizing this wonderful man. Thank you so much. And again, we're so proud of you. We're proud that you're a Homestead son. Thank you very much. Let the record reflect that we started 20 minutes ago, but we did not do roll call, so we're going to do roll call right now. Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bell. Here. Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos. Here. Councilman McCormick.
Here.
Councilman Nelson.
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra. Here. Councilwoman Waldman. Here.
Next item is the Cary P. Meek Center for Business Presentation, Incubator Manager Hilda Hall. Is Hilda present with us tonight?
If I could add, we have one deletion I think James needs to add in there also.
James?
Yes, under tab 1, item E, that's been deleted from your agenda, and also tab 31, which is under the consent agenda, has been deleted from your agenda this evening.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Tab 31, and what's the other tab, James?
Tab 1, under special presentations, under item E.
31's oh, okay, got it.
Officer Soto was in the hospital today for surgery.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We wish him well. I guess Hilda Hall is not here right now, so we will defer this presentation. Certificate of presentation to Pineapple Kids at Baptist Hospital, Councilwoman Sierra.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here. A couple of weeks ago, I was quite moved by a story that came out in the Miami Herald. It was about a young lady by the name of Raquel de la Osa. And Raquel has done quite an incredible program. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, because I want her to come up here and tell you herself. Come on up, Raquel. The name of the program is Pineapple Kids Program.
Hi, my name is Raquel de la Osa. I'm 16 years old. I'm a junior at Robert Morgan, and I created a program called Pineapple Kids, and it's an in-room service to the children at Homestead Hospital's pediatric unit, and I have a cart filled with toys and other activities, and I go into the children's rooms, and I play with the children, and I make their stay at Homestead Hospital better and more enjoyable.
Raquel's parents are here this evening, the sister as well, the one taking pictures, all proud of her sister. It's so moving to me when I see a student goes out of their way to get back to their community, and I really felt it was imperative that we bring this student into our chambers and recognize her for this. She is doing this for the Silver Knights Award, and donations, or what else is that you were explaining to me about that?
Yes, I need monetary donations to be able to keep the cart supplied with toys and other activities for the children in Homestead Hospital.
Thank you. Certificate of recognition. The certificate is awarded to Raquel de la Osa, Pineapple Kids Program, in recognition of your commitment and dedication to the parents and children at Homestead Hospital. The City of Homestead salutes you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sierra, also, I would like to commend the parents again. We know when you have such a wonderful child like this that it has to be the parents that have a lot to do with that. So I want to commend the parents and thank you very much for this wonderful daughter that you've raised. Thank you. Now that we move the children up, we're back to American Recovery and Reinvestment Act update. IRS Senior Tax Consultant Barbara Terry, Councilwoman Lobos.
Yes, if the IRS Senior Tax Consultant Barbara Terry, please go to the podium and make your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Bell, council members.
Good evening, Mayor Bell, council members, and Homestead residents. It is good to be back. I haven't been here in quite some time, and I come with wonderful news. I have information on 4 key provisions in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 that impact individuals and families. The first one is the first-time home buyer credit. Time is running out to take advantage of the first-time home buyer credit. You must close on your home before December 1st. Getting this credit could mean up to $8,000 back to you when you file your 2009 tax return. For homes purchased in 2009, taxpayers can choose to take the credit on their 2008 tax return or claim it on their 2009 tax return next year. For homes purchased in 2009, the credit does not have to be paid back unless the home ceases to be the taxpayer's main residence within a 3-year period following the purchase. The first-time homebuyer credit is a refundable credit, which means a refund to taxpayers even if they do not owe any tax. The second provision that I want to bring to your attention is if you received unemployment compensation in 2009, the first $2,400 do not have to be reported on your income tax return. The third one is there is help for paying your college education. The credit is worth up to $2,500 of the cost of tuition and related expenses. You can claim it on your 2009 and your 2010 tax returns. Even if you don't make enough money to file a return, file anyway because you may get up to $1,000 back. Parents, listen carefully. If you have a Section 529 college savings plan, you can't spend those funds on a computer that's used for college. This is great news because this is something new. In the past, you could not take a deduction for those laptops and computers that you buy your kids when they go to school. The last one I want to bring to your attention tonight is that now you can get up to $1,500 for certain energy efficient home improvements, such as adding insulation, energy efficient exterior windows, doors or skylights, or heating and cooling systems. You also get a 30% tax break with no dollar limit for alternative energy equipment, like solar water heaters, geothermal heat pumps, and small wind turbines. There are many new tax law changes, and I would welcome the opportunity to present maybe at your next town hall meeting. I realize today you're pressed for time, and there's no way I can explain them all in such short notice. But in the meantime, I am leaving flyers and publications with information. I placed them on this table back here. You can also go on our website, www.irs.gov. And before I go, Homestead volunteers have offered free income tax preparation to the residents for 4 years. I have been honored to be the relationship manager for the partnership between the City of Homestead and the Internal Revenue Service. Last year, some residents were turned away because we did not have the manpower. The free service is available at the Homestead YMCA right on Campbell Drive in US 1. I am recruiting for volunteers for the next filing season. Training begins in December. So if you know anyone who's interested in volunteer, this is a wonderful free service that is offered to the residents in Homestead. VITA sites in South Dade generate over $2 million in refunds, and that's at a minimum. So this is a wonderful free service. More and more people are going to benefit from this service next year because of the income levels have dropped because of unemployment and layoffs. So I ask for your help in recruiting volunteers. If you have any other questions, contact City Hall. They know how to reach me. And I thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Barbateri. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Lobos. We now have before us the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move it. Second it.
The consent agenda has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this agenda?
Mayor Bell?
Councilman Nelson, Councilman Robinette.
Okay. As I was looking over this, I saw some things that hadn't been before us in a while, and I just wanted to make note of it, that the tab 28, the auction items of the surplus items, that money will be going to SOS. And there were, tab 27, I questioned the paint of the truck, and the assistant city manager told me that it was, the bottom line was going to be orange for safety reasons, which I agree with. I think we need to make them as safe as possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilman. Councilwoman Waldman.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. It's not that I have a problem with any of these items that are on the consent agenda, but I do have a problem that 16 items were not discussed at the COW meeting. So for that reason only, I'm voting against the consent agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, actually that's not the decision I made. Sheila looked at the items, if they are in extension items or something of repetitive nature or grant acceptance. In her judgment, she thought this something will go on the consent agenda. I personally have no problem with it. And by the way, you see so many items there for extension. In the past, contracts expired and months later they will be renewed. I can tell you staff is taking a proactive approach by having many items renewed on time.
Mayor Bell, may I
Thank
comment?
you so much. Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you. As I read through them, it clearly stated on many of them that the contracts were renewable if accepted. So to me, that meant that they should have been accepted by council, which you're doing now. But unless we looked at this and the general public knew, then they would think that we had already discussed it. And there are many, many bids on here that have been renewed: sidewalks, resurfacing of streets, many grants too. Caliente, I have no problem with any of that. I'm just saying for the six, and I wasn't accusing you, Mr. Manager. I'm just saying, for my opinion, the 16 items over $1 million. So I'm voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Did you? I read them all, and I thought that they were all very much in order. Did you have any issues with any of them, Councilwoman?
I had an issue with a few of them, but I'm going to vote no on the whole thing. So thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other comments or questions on these items?
I just wanted to thank staff. I had called up and Joanna and had gotten me some answers for tab 13 about the purchase of cars and things like that, and I spoke with Lieutenant Bell. So he answered my questions, and Joanna...
Those were discussed, right.
Right. Tab 24, sidewalks, I wasn't quite sure about that. I had an explanation. I can't say I'm 100%, but that was done prior to us, if I remember the date correctly. So I will trust what they went along with back then too, and hope that it's the best, it's working out. From what I understand, it's working out good for the city. So, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other comments or questions on the consent agenda? Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. Public hearings, ordinances, land use items, there are none. Legislative matters?
Yes, Mayor, moving on to legislative matters, tab 33, item 20 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving professional services agreement and recognizing competitive bidding exemption for building and inspection services agreement between the city and CAP, Inspection Service CAP Government Inc., in accordance with City Code Section 2-411.1A2, exemptions from competitive bidding and providing for an effective date.
I move to approve the CAP Government Permitting and Inspections Agreement.
I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions on this item? This is a public hearing. Are there any comments or questions from any members of the public on this item? Thank you very much. We'll now close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council? Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes, moving on to 7B, tab 34. It's a second reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 9, Finance Division 1, generally of the City Code of Ordinances by creating Section 2-441, adopting an investment policy, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to adopt the investment policy.
I'll second that.
The investment policy has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions for any members of the public? I'd like to comment that this is basically the City of Homestead complying with state statutes to create this investment policy. Are there any comments from the public or concerns from the public? Thank you very much. We'll close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes, next item is tab 35. Second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the city code by amending Chapter 22.5 retirement plans, by amending Article 3 general employees retirement plan, by amending Section 22.5-134 conditions relative to optional forms to allow a person who has elected to receive their retirement benefits in the form of a joint and survivor option to change their designated joint annuitant one time after their normal retirement date, provided that the joint annuitant is not deceased, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I move the amendment of the General Employees Retirement Plan.
I second it.
The amendment has been properly moved and seconded. Also, this came through the pension board. I chair this board, and this is basically an item that was brought to us, and there's no actuarial impact on it, so it makes a lot of sense to do it, to allow someone to change this beneficiary one time. So it makes a lot of sense because circumstances do change. So the important point for the pension board was that there's no impact, there's no fiscal or financial impact on the board. So I thank you for that. We have our, any other comments? Public hearing, any members, comments from any members of the public on this item? Thank you very much. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item.
Yes, the next item is item B3. This is tab 36. This is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Article 2, Dangerous Intersection Safety of Chapter 18, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, by amending Section 18.7 Definitions, Section 18.8 Adherence to Red Light Traffic Control Signals, Section 18.12 Citation, and Section 18.14 Hearing before the Special Magistrate of the City Code of the City of Homestead in order to increase the scope of the traffic control signal violations that may be recaptured by a traffic control signal monitoring device, and providing for citation and hearing notice distribution via first-class mail, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve this on first reading?
I'll move it.
A second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded, and this is basically the same regulations that we have to enforce the red light runners. It's going to be treated the same way if we have any type of power outage, hurricanes, or anything, where the intersection needs to be treated like a four-way stop. This is a wonderful security measure to ensure that people very quickly learn to treat each time a light is out, to treat it like a four-way stop. And this we've been maintaining. This is about safety and security for our residents. Are there any comments or questions from the public on this item?
I had a question, Mayor, if I could.
We'll now close the public hearing. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. How are we going to get the word out about this to the public? Have we come up with a plan yet? Is it? Yeah, I understand it's a law, but to know that we're going to be enforcing a fine there and all that, are we going to give a grace period on outage of the photos enforced, or?
Through the mayor, vice mayor, if you're referring to the red light camera, it's
Yes.
already enforced now. The red light camera. Reason we did this revision is really when you come to a traffic light and it's for some reason not functioning according to the way it should be and timing and all that stuff, for people to adhere to the four-way stop sign practically.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item is 7B4, tab 37. This is a long one, so bear with me. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the General Employees Retirement Plans by amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5101 of the City Code, definitions, to change the definition of earning to reflect cost of living increases under Section 401A17 of the Internal Revenue Code. By amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5112 of the City Code, maximum pension, to update and reflect the Federal Treasury final regulations under Section 415 of the Internal Revenue Code, providing details required by the Internal Revenue Service and indicating optional provisions applying. By amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5113 of the City Code, distribution rules, to update and reflect required federal law provisions under Section 401A9 of the Internal Revenue Code. By amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5115 of the City Code, subject to tax approval, to incorporate reference to current Internal Revenue Code. By amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5140 of the City Code, Retirement Fund, to reflect and reference Internal Revenue Code provisions on domestic relations orders. By amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5170 of the City Code, direct transfers of rollovers, to update and reflect the applicable provisions of Section 401A31 of the Internal Revenue Code, and by amending Chapter 22 at Section 22.5171 of the City Code, qualified military service, to update and reflect required provisions of the Heroes Earning Assistance and Tax Relief Act of 2008, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
I think Richard would be proud, James. You did a wonderful job. I'll now entertain a motion for approval on this item.
I'll move to amend the General Employees Retirement Plan.
Is there a second? There's been a motion and second on the amending of the General Employees Retirement Plan. Are there any comments or questions from any members of the council for staff? Please, Mr. Cohen, go ahead. Please.
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Ronald Cohen. I've had the good fortune to be the counsel for your General Employees Retirement Plan since 2001. There's been some changes over the years with the amount of attention that the Internal Revenue Service is paying to General Employee Retirement Plans and police and fire retirement plans as well. And what we have done, what our plan has done, and the mayor, of course, is the chair of our committee, we have hired special tax counsel, a nationally recognized special tax counsel out of Indianapolis, Indiana, who has been filing papers with the Internal Revenue Service so that we can actually receive a letter saying that we're tax qualified. Most government plans didn't do that in the past, but the IRS is asking you to do it now. They have suggested certain technical changes in the Internal Revenue Code provisions of our plan in order to make sure we remain in compliance with the Internal Revenue Code. There will be no cost. We've had our actuary look at it. There will be no cost to anybody, and there will also be no change in any benefits. These are just changes that need to go into the plan to satisfy our requirements with the Internal Revenue Service. And I'm told that the other plans, while I don't represent any of the other city plans, I'm told that the other city plans are doing the same exercise, using a different firm to write the tax changes, but at some point, additional language, I understand, is likely to be brought before you for your other plans. But this is language that we are told by tax counsel that the IRS wants to see, and that's why we think it ought to be passed. And no cost, no change in benefits.
Yes, that's the important part, no actuarial impact. So thank you very much, Mr. Cohen. Do any of the council members have any questions for Mr. Cohen? You did an excellent presentation, Mr. Cohen. Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions for any members of the audience? Thank you very much. We'll close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes the items on the agenda. We will now open the meeting for public comment. You have 3 minutes for public comment. Please state your name and your address for the record, very kindly. Good evening, Ms. Beasley.
Good evening. I am Leela Beasley, and
I'm sorry, ma'am. Please state your name and your address, please.
I am Leela Beasley, and I reside at 405 Northwest 11th Street. And we're here concerning the Jane Marcher Smith Park. I don't know if it's permissible, but Mayor Bell, I had give some information here, and I got all the council's name, your name on one of the papers, because what I'm going to talk about, I want everybody to be aware of it. We're here to talk about park. And we're here for one purpose, to let you all know that there's a very serious problem on our hands, and we need some immediate attention because it's affecting our lives and our property very badly. As we know, we met first with the Park Department, and the police department was there at the time. And at a later time, we met with Mayor Bell herself. So some of you are very aware of what we are dealing with. But we have been truly suffering. As one word, we've been suffering from your beautiful park that you have there. The reason that I want to you to have that handout, because you're not going to read it all tonight, but you're going to go home and read some of it, and you're going to share in what we're going to be talking about tonight. But I want to talk about something that was put in the paper first. And so I want you to turn to the very last page. The last page itself, not the back of the page, but the page itself. And in so doing, I would like to address Councilman Melvin McCormick and Timothy Nelson about a statement that was made in the South Dade Monitor about the situation. And what I said to Councilman Nelson on a phone conversation one day about the condition over there in the park. First of all, I want to read a little bit of the comment. If you turn to the very back, I did a little bit of the comment itself. And you'll see an insert down there that says, Councilman McCormick accused Leila Beasley of making false statements referring to some things she said to Mr. Nelson. And it's saying that I was telling a lie. I can't read it all because it takes too long. And Councilman Nelson, I recall the day that I talked with you, and I recall the day that you came to the park and said you was coming. And I recall the next day when I talked to you and you told me you were out there. And that you had Beasley, your time went up, but I'm going to go ahead and let you finish your statement because your time is up, and I know you're all going to, but go ahead and finish your statement. I want to hear what you have to say. But what I want to say is, they're saying that we are not telling the truth about what's going on over there, but it's real. You all have it. You can read it yourself, all of it. It is real, and we need some very serious help in that park. As you know, I put it on paper so you can go home and read it and see all the things that we're involved in over there, and we're suffering from that park. Thank you. And there's some others going to... Thank you, Ms. Beasley.
Good night, Council, Mayor Bell. My name is Robert Williams. I'm a resident of Homestead, 321 Northwest 12th Street, adjacent to J. Martin Smith Park. As Mrs. Beasley stated, we're here on regards to the upgrading of the J. Martin Smith Park. And believe you me, it is an immaculate facility. I praise the committee that brought it forth, with the exception of some things that has to be ironed out that I don't think any of us knew that was going to come about. And I endeavor to work with you as we clear up these matters. As you know, my main purpose for moving into that area was it was right across the street from my house that I could buy because of my injury. I could continue to exercise on a daily basis and continue to keep my body in shape. And because of the upgrade of it, it's brought a lot more
people into the community, some good, some bad. And I know we can always see that as long as we live. But we endeavor to try to get you all to see these things, so that way we can try to eliminate as much of it as possible. We've given you a list of various things that's been taking place, and I've noticed some of them that have been being taken care of right away. But there's still some others that needs to be taken care of, and I don't want to go into the different things because it could drag on and on. But you have a list, and we appreciate you taking into consideration and trying to work these things out for us.
Thank you. Would you reset? Thank you.
I'm Barbara Pizzillo, and I live at 406 Northwest 12th Street. And I'm here to talk about the boom cars. As you know, it's a car that produces a pounding bass that can be heard and felt over more than a block away. The sound can rattle windows and travel through walls. The noise is nerve-shattering to adults and frightening to children. When exposed to the noise pollution, some of the following things occur: elevated stress levels, mood swings, hypertension, depression, loss of sleep and productivity, and in children it results in slow learning. And we are constantly bombarded by this noise. It comes in the evening, after work, when you want to relax, watch TV. I sit down to dinner, and between 5:30 and 9:30 p.m., and I've even noticed it in the morning, between 6:30 and 9, okay? The offenders are just driving by the park to check it out, and they come back repeatedly. We feel this is rude, disrespectful, offensive, and most of all, illegal. Something must be done. Stop this. It has taken away our peace and quiet in our homes. We feel terrorized and abused. I would like to see an ordinance passed that will stop this illegal behavior and give the police department some incentive to stop it. The consequences aren't effective to the people. Please restore our quality of life.
Thank you very, very much for your comments. I do appreciate it. And let me tell you something. Since we met, I've had discussions with the police department. I've had discussions with the city manager's office and the parks department. And I can assure you, I drive by there all the time so that I can see myself, and I've driven by there many times just so that I can make sure that the cars, because one of the complaints you had was that the cars were parking in your yards and stuff, and I haven't seen that because I keep driving by and I haven't seen the cars. So that was, did we stop that? Because we did step up patrols. We have people, I'm going to let the chief of police and the city manager address this, but we heard you. We really did heard you, and we hear you, and we're working on this. We've been citing. We've been giving citations for the boom cars. We've been citing them.
It's not effective though. They're still coming.
But we have been citing them. We've put undercover in the park. I mean, there's so many things we did. And I'm going to let the manager address it. But I want you to know that when you met with us and you met with the councilman, you met with the chief, that everything that you brought, I took notes. Went to the manager's office, spoke with them, spoke with Ms. Faddis as well, the deputy manager, and we've been working on every one of these concerns because they're real concerns.
All over.
Sometimes there are unintended consequences of a good idea, of a good thing. And so I just want you to know that we are definitely working on it. But I would like the city manager to elaborate more on some of the other things that we've been doing to fix this, to correct this. Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, the lady there and the other residents who came and expressed their point of view, we do hear you, and I can tell you I never met with you, but I know you met with the mayor and the police chief, and actually the other residents also met with some council members and the police chief. And I can tell you we are doing a lot of things that unfortunately we cannot share, but the chief, I personally was at the park one day, and just after I left the park, I received an email that there were 2 undercover police officers. I didn't even recognize them. They were at the park itself. And we do have people, but I know for you as a resident, it's not moving at the speed you like to see, but I promise you we are working on it with the noise ordinance. The mayor mentioned it to me, and that's something definitely we are exploring, and it's a great idea, and thank you for your thought. And actually, Joanna will take your number, and the rest of the residents who came there and expressed their point of view, and we will keep you updated in what's going on, just one-on-one conversation, and actually maybe even get you involved when we're going through the preparation of the ordinance to show a draft and give us your point of view. We definitely like to make everybody happy, not just one side. So that's a promise we will give.
And by the way, I did bring the idea for the ordinance as well. So everything that you brought to us, we are taking very seriously.
Well, I have another copy. I made copies for all of you.
Okay.
But if you've already,
I have it on my desk as well.
I found another.
Another city?
Yeah, but it was in Illinois.
Well, we have attorneys that can handle that.
Okay.
So
I'd like to have a copy now.
The city manager, he made a statement about the budget for parking and whatnot. Are we planning on coming up with some kind of budget for parking to implement that, to take care of that need?
No, sir. You mean to charge people for parking?
No, well, however we will come up with
to expand the parking.
be able to extend the parking.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at that. Thank you, you guys. I've been very respectful to you, but you cannot come back up and readdress the council.
I just want to say that I appreciate if you all will read what I gave you.
We will, Ms. Beasley. I can assure you. Thank you very much. The next public comment. Thank you very much. I just want you to know that you have been heard.
Audelia Martinez, 1884 Northwest 2nd Avenue, Homestead. I live in the Northwest area, and I'm ecstatic with the park. It's a beautiful park. I go walk and run there, and I understand the ladies. I have seen, sometimes I've gone there, and it's been packed with parking because it's such a beautiful park. Everybody wants to go there. And, yeah, we have to iron out some kinks. I think that maybe a solution would be to maybe partner or lease from the old Homestead Hospital. There's the building there. There's a lot of parking space. Maybe we can have that. Let's come up with solutions here to help. But the park is phenomenal. My little doggies go there all the time. But I agree with Ms. Beasley, and I agree with this lady. We need the relief of the parking. I know if I lived right there, I would be coming here and saying the same thing. So yes, I think that we do need the relief of the parking. That would help, I think. Oh, even with the booming of the cars, because of course the cars, they park there and then they have the loud music. But if they park away from it, where the tower is, there's like empty. Maybe we can partner and make it pretty there. That tower building, the medical building right there, the Homestead Hospital, and then they won't be booming because they'll come to the park. They won't be hanging out. They'll be parking over there, hopefully. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Adelia. Thank you so much. By the way, the school board owns that site now, so we'd have to talk to the school board. Yes, ma'am.
Mary Jo Butler, 306 Northwest 7th Avenue. I have a major concern. There's a car lot at the end of my street, Northwest 7th Avenue and Mowry Street. It has been posted, no stopping or standing. When I'm coming out my street to make a left-hand turn onto Mowry Street, very seldom can I see down the street. I've almost been hit 4 or 5 times there. I even talked to the car dealership manager to let him know that there is a problem. You cannot see the street if you're coming out into the street. I've called the police numerous of times to report this because there is a sign that says no stopping or standing, but evidently it's ignored because it still happens. I was almost hit on Thursday, and it is really a serious problem. There also is another problem.
Ms. Butler, would you give us the address again of the property where the car is?
It's located right across the street from from Martin Luther King Clinic.
Okay.
Right in Plainview, a car lot.
Okay, thank you.
They sell cars there, used cars.
Got it.
And my other issue is, I have a sister-in-law on Southwest 3rd Avenue. I cannot get into her property sometimes because the street is full of people, like a parade is coming. And if you say something, oh my God, it's terrible. It is really terrible. And I told her, I said, well, you're a taxpayer. You have the right to complain to get this issue taken care of. I was there last week, and oh my God, did I get the business. I really did. But not only me, but even people that's passing the street. They'll either direct you around them, or you'll have to wait till they decide to get out of the street. And this is on Southwest 3rd Avenue and 8th Street.
Unacceptable.
They're on both sides of the street.
I know the chief is writing that down as we speak.
In the middle of the street, everywhere. Even early morning, they start to commune right there at that place.
You know, I know that that is an issue, and I've even had some people tell me that when they're trying to take their kids to school, a lot of the kids will walk right in the middle of the street, and they just dare you to, you know, to do anything. So we need to, wherever those areas are, we need to target them with police, and the police need to cite them for jaywalking or get them out of the street, one thing or the other. But we are, the chief is writing, I can see the chief writing, and he's going to be checking this out. Mrs.
And there's one more place, Chief.
Get it all in, Mrs.
I travel a lot on 6th Avenue because I have to go that way to get to places I need to go. There is a grocery store there on 6th Avenue, adjacent, right across the street there's a school, Laura Sanders. Most of the time, the street is crowded. I mean, you hate to travel that way, but it's easy for me to go that way to get to where I need to go. You cannot, even if I wanted to go into the store, can't get in because people are always on the sidewalks. They're in front of the store. Of course, there are apartments upstairs, yes, but it's not a circus, and it's always like one there.
Well, Mrs. Butler, thank you so much, and I promise you we are going to check that out. We're going to patrol those areas, and please let us know if it does improve, because I'm sure it's going to be improving very soon. I have a phone that's going to be very highly stepped up patrolling over there.
Thank you.
Thank
You'll
you.
get a call from me.
Good, good. By the way, I wish every time someone saw something like that, call the police. Call the City of Homestead Police Department. They will come out there and they will get them out of the street. Please call the police. In fact, when I talk to the police departments about the police officers about these complaints, they say, call us, call us. And I talk to some of you ladies and you're like, well, we don't want to bother the police department. Bother them. That's what they're here for. And they want you to bother them. So please call the police. When you start hearing the boom, call the police. Well, okay. Well, we heard you very loud and clear, and we have been working on these issues. But this is, Mrs. Butler, that's a new issue, so we will get on that as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments. We will now have business from the city manager. Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, actually, I'm going to ask Luana to read the items we have in my case.
Madam Mayor, council members, we have field work for the installation of the traffic light at Campbell Drive at Portofino Plaza, which is a movie theater. The field work should actually begin within the next week.
Ms. Cyrus, is that the left-hand turn signal?
That is the infamous, famous left-hand turn.
That's something that they said could never be done, by the way, folks. Couldn't be done.
This year, Public Power Week will take place from October 4th through the 10th. Public Power Week is a countrywide program that celebrates and recognizes the importance of public power to local citizens and other key publics, including local, state, and national officials. The city's new skate park is slated to open sometime in October, so please keep checking the website for a grand opening date. The next Chrome Avenue Cruisin' and Music in the Park will take place on Saturday, October 17th. That is actually the third Saturday. The car show will begin at 5:30 and the concert will begin at 6. If you'd like to sign up to receive information by email, please visit our website at www.cityofhomestead.com and click on e-new subscription. To read about all of this information and for more details, please contact our website, again at www.cityofhomestead.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Reports of Mayor and Council. Councilwoman Sierra.
Mayor, due to the time, I'm going to be very brief, but I do want to give an update on the welcome signs that we have approved a couple months ago. We're well on our way to replacing the old and faded welcome signs that are currently in our city. This is a project that's been ongoing for some time, as you may remember. Council approved the design and all structural planning permitting is pretty much complete. Construction should begin soon, within the next month. Signs have been budgeted for from the marketing budget and impact fees. I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. There's a total of 4 signs. 2 will replace existing signs and 2 will be new. The existing signs that will be replaced are there's one that's on US 1 and 304th Street by the airplane out there. And the other one is at the exit of the Turnpike on Campbell Drive, right in front of Campbell Drive Middle School. The new ones is, one is northbound on US 1 and 328th Street, and the other one is southbound on 137th Avenue, just past 288th Street, so going towards the Speedway. The signs on the front will say, "Welcome to Homestead." The signs from behind say, "Lillian, thank you for visiting Homestead." If anybody wants to see the signs and what they look like, a rendering will be placed on our website, www.cityofhomestead.com. Kindly go to the website to take a look at the rendering. One more thing I would like to mention, Mayor, and this last couple of weeks there was one tragedy at Coral Gables Senior High, and there was a scare at one of the other high schools. And I just really want to encourage parents to speak to their children. Talk to your children about nonviolence, about being able to communicate with when they have a situation instead of going to violence. What has happened in Coral Gables is a horrible tragedy which has ruined 2 lives, 2 families, and it's very sad to me. And I really appreciate when families get involved and start speaking to their children. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Wallman.
Thank you, Mayor. For those of you that have been with us for many years, you'll know that I've been doing the Kindness Awards since 2002. And for the next several weeks, residents and business owners are invited to send letters to me detailing a unique act of kindness shown to them by a friend, neighbor, relative, co-worker, teacher, student, or even a stranger. There are heroes living amongst us, and to be able to appreciate, acknowledge, and celebrate those who show what a simple act of kindness can do is wonderful, but you must send in a letter in order for us to recognize them. A random act of kindness today can come back to you in mysterious and wonderful ways. The deadline for this is October 12th. You can email them to me, you can send them to the city clerk, you can mail them to me, you can call me and I'll come pick them up. So it's very important that you recognize the people who have done nice things to you. I'd like to congratulate Julie Romero. She was the Civitan Citizen of the Year, and we just honored her the other night. She's a deserving young woman, and I truly appreciate everything that she's done for the community. And I'd like to encourage people to vote, because early voting, Sheila, could you give me the days for early voting?
They're Thursday, October 1, 11 to 7 p.m., Friday, October 2nd, 11 to 7 p.m., and Saturday, October 3rd, 8 to 4 p.m. here in the chambers.
There is a primary, and it's very important that people get out and tell us how you feel. Vote. The last thing I'm going to mention is that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so please get your checkups. I'll be talking about that a little bit more in some other venues, but it's very important because early detection does save lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Julie Ramiro appreciate you calling her a young woman.
Oh, I miss her.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to say what a great event we had out at Harris Field this past Saturday with the Get Hype, which was to get young kids out there to get with local organizations that were looking for volunteers. So if you'll give me a minute here, I'd just like to thank the organizations that came out. Art South was present, Drug Free, or Defy It as it's well known, En Familia, Habitat for Humanity,
The Northwest cleanup event was represented. Thank you, Sherry, for sitting there all day. The Soup Kitchen, Homestead Family YMCA came out, the Rodeo Association, South Dade Weed and Feed Project SOS was present, Main Street Incorporated was there, La Jardine came out, Miami-Dade Elections came out to get to the young kids that are of age that hadn't registered yet. Miami-Dade County Teen Court was present. Mustard Seed Initiative was there. Relay for Life came out. This Is the Dog was there. Police Explorers was there. And it was just a great event, and we're building every year. And I want to thank, we had some great music people that came out. We had, thanks to the mayor, we had a young man by the name of Jordan Brown who played a guitar and sang by a solo and did a great job for us. We had a local group called Expelled, which is put together by the Music Depot, and some of you may have seen them at the Falls. They're up there on Friday nights out by the courtyard there in front of the movie theaters. They're going to be back up there on August the 30th. And then we had a hip-hop artist by the name of LaGuardia that gave a very positive message and used none of the usual, or not usual, but profanity-ridden hip-hop and stuff like that that gives it such a bad name. He had nothing but a positive message that he brought out to all the kids that were there and did a great job for us. I want to thank everybody that was there. I especially want to thank our assistant, Patty Sullivan, for all her help that she did with organizing that event for me and helping out with it. So thank you, Patty. While I was there, I ran into a gentleman from Habitat for Humanity, and they're getting ready to build 22 homes down here in South Dade. They have meetings the last Saturday of every month through the end of October for people that feel like they might qualify. And those meetings are at 9:30 a.m. at the Jordan Commons Community Center at 13075 Southwest 244th Street in Homestead. Like I said, they're looking for 22 different families to fill up. And they're going to, I believe they said the build was going to be in February, so they're going to be looking for volunteers also to help do the build, as they're going to do all 22 homes within a couple of days or whatever their time is. And I'll leave some of these brochures with the clerk if anybody is interested, or if anybody from the public thinks they may qualify for this project, please come. They are looking for not volunteers, but people who qualify. They've only got several of the homes qualified for so far, so there's many openings, and I know that they're excited about coming down here and building a great neighborhood with 22 homes on 11 on each side of the road, as they described them, and they're doing good things. So I want to thank them for coming down also. On about every other Thursday, now it's gone to every Thursday, I've been attending the air show meetings out at the air base as we're getting ready for that on November 7th and 8th. And Colonel McCauley asked me if I could bring a poster that we could leave at City Hall or something so people could see it, and I wanted to show the public tonight on TV. They're going to have approximately 7 hours of flying every day on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a great event with the Air Force Thunderbirds as the premium air show out there as the bigwigs, so it should be great. And one of the guys that's going to be flying from the Thunderbirds is actually from the Cutler Bay area, and this is going to be his last show as a Thunderbird, so it should be a great show for them. I attended the Air Force Ball the other night representing the city. Got to meet speaking of flying, two ladies that were from World War II that are getting ready to be honored at Congress and get I believe it's the Congressional Gold Medal. Ileana Ross Lathan has sponsored them. Two of them live right here in Miami. There's not very many of them that are surviving, and that was quite an honor to meet these two ladies that had flown and done unbelievable combat missions, and there were some generals there that were jealous of the things that these ladies had done in airplanes and stuff, so it was very impressive to meet them. Many of us did the Freedom Walk the other day. The Dick Conley football, I got to hold the football, and got all my fingers and toes still there as Councilwoman Sierra kicked a field goal to kick off the season.
She did a great job.
Didn't pull any muscles or anything, so we were all impressed and glad. Attended a great ceremony at the Sock South out on the air base for 9/11. Very touching ceremony. Just very touching thing out there. Also out there attended a POW MIA breakfast the other morning, so they've been putting on some great events all around, just in memory of people, and looking forward as the Air Force Ball did. This Saturday I've got the Northwest cleanup, which is going to start, so the ladies at the park. The park will be crowded Saturday morning, but it will be for a good thing. We're going to be there to do we're going to have the police explorers there to park people in the proper spots, but we're going to we're going to walk the neighborhoods and pick the trash up on the street for 3 hours Saturday morning. We're going to try to cover the entire northwest area, and people will be at the park for a short time Saturday morning as we send them off on their route to help clean up and make the Northwest a better place for everybody. So thank you, Mayor. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. You covered a lot of the events that we were both at, so that was good. Councilman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. My business today concerns the Finance Committee that I'm the chair of, and I was just, as you all know, I do sit on the executive committee of the audit committee that reviews all of the finances for the Miami-Dade School Board. And at the last meeting, we kind of celebrated the progress that the school board has done within a one-year turnaround from the budget crisis that they were in last year, with not being able to determine exactly how much deficit they had because the numbers kept going up and down. And so in looking at our budget process and where we've come from, I think that it's appropriate to reflect and look at some of the progress, great progress that the City of Homestead has done. And so what I've done is, I know there was a question as to how do I get my numbers and where does information come from. When I want to present an item, I go ahead and ask for records requests. I meet with the city manager. I meet through the city manager with staff, and they provide me the information. And then, of course, I put it all together so I can present it here during my business. So one of the first items that you already heard me speak of at the budget hearing, I did look at the office of the city manager. And as you heard me say before, in November 1st of 2007, that office was operating with a spending of $793,254. As of September 1st, 2009, they're operating $609,133. The office of the city manager is operating $184,121 less than 2 years ago. That is something to be celebrated. And now I have a list here, and this is all within the last 2 years, and I'll let you know the items that are related to just 1 year. Accomplishments and realized savings. The Carter settlement, which was a lawsuit that we were in with the bowling alley that had been going on for several years, they were asking us to give them $500,000. Through this city manager who met and negotiated with them, we got that $500,000 reduced to $90,000 that they agreed after the city manager talked with them. That's a savings of $410,000 because the city manager negotiated with them. We had the reliable substation. I don't know if you remember early on in administration, a lot of change orders were coming through. The change orders were in excess of $350,000. And because of the city manager met with the vendors and said, you're either going to do it this way or we're not going to do business with you, we had to say, it all went all the way down to $50,000. The city manager was also in charge of the Hearts and Souls Walkathon, which went to benefit Project SOS, and we were able to raise $56,000 from contributions made from our community. We had the lawn maintenance bid that had not gone out to bid, and because we put it out to bid, we had a realized savings of $400,000. With lobbying money, the money that has come in over the past 1 year, $1.3 million. We've also received stimulus funding, and this is the breakdown of the stimulus funding. In transportation, we've received $1.3 million. In transit, we received $597,347. Through the CDBG Entitlement HUD grant, we received $212,274. Through the JAG, which was a lot of the grants that the police department got, we received $387,095. Through the EECBG, which is an energy funding stimulus, $541,000. On top of that, we also had the neighborhood stabilization program of $2.8 million. We had a non-renewal of certain non-for-profits that we thought shouldn't be part of the budget, that including the Vision Council, the Incubator, and Main Street, which saved the city $145,000. We also, since February of 2007 to October 1st of from October 1st, 2008, as of October 1st, 2008, which was 7 months after the city manager took over, we did some restructuring. We did trim some departments down. General fund saved $1.2 million. The CRA was cut down by $452,000. Customer service, 152,000. Electric fund, 218,000, and public works, 213,000. This is a total of $2.3 million that we saved because we restructured from the very first day that the city manager took over. As far as projects and grants, the Corps of Engineers settlement, we saved the city $11,000. Park project, Audubon Park, we saved $200,000. Harris Field, and all of this is because when this bid first went out, and there were some things that the city manager saw that we could do a little bit different. Perhaps we didn't need something, we could skip a step because we didn't really need it, or perhaps we can substitute something for the other. This is where these savings come from.
Speaker is the big sound system.
Right. Audubon Park had $200,000. Harris Field, which we all remember that fiasco, that was, I think, one of the first projects that came before this new council, and we were questioning things like, you're right, Mayor, like speakers and things that just didn't make any sense that would be part of that bathroom project, $257,000. James Archer Smith, $447,500. The MRWMP mitigation completion, $4.5 million. The senior center, and I have to pause here for a moment. When this project first started, the price of the senior center was $7.6 million because there were things that were just excessive. This project was approved during the years of abundance, and it seems like we had plenty of it, and we didn't care how much anything cost, and money was just no object to us, and this project was going to cost the city of Homestead $7.6 million. We went through and with the city manager saw some things that were not necessary, that were in excess, got that project reduced down to $3.6 million, from 7.6 to 3.6. That's savings of 5.2. The skate park, the completion of the skate park. Initially, it was going to cost us $200,000. It is now a $59,000. That's a project that's coming out of the forfeiture fund. On top of that, was this the one that received some grant funding? Some grant funding is coming for the skate park because now the skate park and Harris Field are going to have brand new bathrooms, which is something that the football folks are going to be very happy about. My son's out there, been playing out there for 8 years. I know Councilwoman Sierra's son is out there, and one of the things that they do complain about is that the bathrooms are too far away. When the kids want to go to the bathroom, they have to go over to the YMCA. And so now we have some grant funding, and we're going to be building some new bathrooms right by the skate park that will benefit both the goers of the skate park and Harris Field, the Dick Conley football kids that are there. And let me see, okay, some accomplishment, left turn signal, like you heard tonight. There is some work coming up this week, and that will be completed. And I think we brought up this project about 2 years ago during the campaign season. The mini park, we had that through the CRA. We're completing that. We received for the first time the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. We received verbal acknowledgement from HRSA of $188,000, and that was what you heard earlier for the Senior Center furniture funding. You know, during the budget process, there were some words that were used like waste and fat and things of that nature, and I think that it's good to observe that perhaps some services, some things that were approved for the residents maybe were not needed. But I think that it can't be thought about in absence or in a vacuum. When we cannot forget what was actually waste here in the city of Homestead just 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I went back and I wanted to see what waste was, because today waste is something that we argue back and forth, like the fireworks and the holiday decorations. But what was waste in the city of Homestead prior to this administration? We had a CRA sewer project that was in line to be funded, $330,000 that we put a stop to because it was going to benefit one person that was coming out of the CRA funding. The CRA lots, where we've talked a lot about the CRA lots. We have no idea why the previous CRA director went on a spending spree in purchasing so much real estate. That is not the purpose of the CRA. And so now we're stuck with all these lots that we have actually implemented a policy that we're going to dispose of, because the CRA is in the business of bettering the community through short-term projects, not into building up in real estate. And by the way, the doing away of the real estate doesn't mean that you're going to sunset the CRA. I know that was a misconception. Somebody mentioned that just because we're disposing of property with the CRA doesn't mean that we're going to sunset the CRA. Speaking of the CRA, I know we all remember the days of the former executive director.
We would like to forget.
Sorry, but I have to bring it up. In 2004, every year, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, he would receive a reimbursement. 2004, $3,203, 2005, $4,860, 2006, $6,874, 2007, $3,453, outside of 20 to 25% that he spent out of the office. I have to tell you something, all these numbers that and I know that there's going to be records requests done, so I have copies here if any of the council or anybody needs the information that I presented today. That was waste, and that's the actual savings. This is not fluff. This is not numbers that we're making up. This is actually what the City of Homestead has accomplished over the past 2 years, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud to reflect back and see that we've done some significant changes, some significant reductions, and significant restructuring. And I know Mr. Lockhart here wants me to hurry up, but I have important business to discuss. There is also
No comments from the audience. Mr. Lockhart, no comment. Thank you.
You made a motion for me to hurry up, but I want to tell you that I have important business to discuss here tonight.
Mr. Lockhart, there's order. When the councilman is speaking, you don't give her the hurry up sign. That is very disrespectful, so I need you to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And in speaking of my experience with the audit committee, one of the things that I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to bring up, and I need the permission of council to continue. When I thought about my purpose at the audit committee with the Miami-Dade School Board, I thought, you know what, that takes the financing away from the politicians. The school board members are there and they, go before the cameras and they have to do the business that they do in the public. The audit committee is a member of all the professionals there. I think there's 9 of us. We are all financial experts, professionals, CPAs, and all we do is audit every financial transaction project that comes before the Miami-Dade School Board, and we give our opinion, and we give it based on our professional expertise. There isn't anything political about that committee. So, Mayor, with your permission, I want to introduce to this council and permission to move forward. I would like the Finance Committee to establish an audit committee. And I want the audit committee to be reflective in the way that is set up to the Miami-Dade School Board Audit Committee, where each one of the council members, including the city manager, would submit one person to nominate to that committee, and that committee would then have the responsibility of overseeing some of the stuff that we've discussed. There's a lot of transactions that go on throughout the city of Homestead, and these residents, as a matter of fact, just as some of the other committees, they would all be residents, people that have the stakeholders of the city of Homestead that would have input at a very significant level of all the financing stuff that goes through the city of Homestead. And you know what? Like Aldelia Martinez said today, there was an idea. This committee can come up with ideas that perhaps we haven't thought about because of the amount of business that goes through. So I would like to permission from the council to go forward and explore this. I think it's going to take about 2 months once I sit down with the attorneys, with the city manager, and I'm thinking about December I'll come back with an actual proposal and you'll see the meat of it, but I need permission to move forward.
Councilman Lobos, I support that. I think that's a fabulous idea, and if you're looking for a motion to that effect, I move that.
I do, Mayor.
I move that we proceed with the organization of an audit committee.
And I second.
Thank you. Are there you want to continue discussing it?
Do I have the support of the majority?
Is there any comments or questions from any other members of the council?
I am in support, and I think it's a wonderful idea.
Mr. Nelson?
I supported it. I think there's something we need for the city.
Mr. Burgess?
I will support it also.
Mr. McCormick?
I too support it, and I think it's a good idea.
I guess Ms. Waldman left us? Yes, I heartily support it.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I appreciate it, and I will go forward and put together something with the attorneys, with the city manager, and in about a couple of months I'll bring back the proposal so that you can see what the audit committee would look like here in the city of Homestead. And I guarantee you that the audit committee members that would be nominated would have to be financial experts, just like the school board is, so that we can have some real discussions as to the stability, financial stability of the city of Homestead, be able to review the balance sheets and add to the finance committee, which right now comprises of 3 people. And I love the idea of the public to now become involved in that process at a very significant level. Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Thank you very much. That's just a great idea. And by the way, I really appreciate the summary that you gave of just the savings that's occurred in the last 2 years. And I appreciate that. And I think that's very, very important for every resident to hear that. Not only the residents in this room, but the people that listen on the internet, people that watch it on television. It's very important because there's a lot of false information that just gets out and just permeates the public. It's very frustrating on my part as the mayor to open up the Herald and read just misstatements, just misquotes, misstatements. It's very frustrating because I know people read it and then they think it's gospel. So it's very, very disheartening to me. So I want to thank you for that update. Thank you for those challenges. And thank you, Mr. Manager. When I brought you on as manager and the council obviously confirmed you, I asked the manager to hold down and keep the office of the manager's office down to the two of them. And he said he would at a great time cost for him, but at a great savings for the residents. So I thank you for doing that. And we also we ended cost overruns. We ended cost overruns. We haven't had them since we've been in office. I mean, the first bathroom project was a fiasco, and we stopped it in Audubon Park. Those are things that I inherited when I came in, and we quickly corrected. And we basically said, you do it at the price that you gave us, or you're off the job. And so of course we get threatened with lawsuits, we get threatened, but it was the right thing to do because it's the proper spending of dollars, whether it's taxpayer dollars or grant dollars. One other quick thing, I know it's not my business, I have to tell you, we went to a Florida League of Cities conference, and there was a room for grants. And so we're in the room, and we walk up, and there's people at different grant stations for different grants. And I said, hi, I'm Linda Bell, Mayor of Homestead. And I said, is there any grants that you know of that we have missed? She started laughing. She said, oh, are you kidding? You and Miami? She says, every single grant that's out there, you have applied for it. There isn't anything that you have applied. In fact, when you said Homestead, all I could think of is all the Homestead applications. So Homestead is doing a great job on applying for grants, and you can see by all the grants that we receive. And by the way, I don't think I need to have a lot of public discussion on receiving money, on receiving free money. So thank you for that. Councilman Melvin McCormick.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bell. I did a tour of the Southwest, and I see that we're about 90% complete with Mini Park. If I can get a completion target date from Mr. Robert Landon for Mini Park.
Mayor, Councilman McCormick, we're looking at probably completion of the park should be done within the next week or so, and then we'll make all the arrangements for the grand opening. So, give or take probably another 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to get all squared away for the grand opening.
Okay, thank you. And also that park, as we previously mentioned, that'll be named Miss Ernestine Seymour. That'll be named after her. So if anybody knows her, then she did a good job in the community. And also off the record, sort of, I want to know if I can meet with Miss Beasley and Mr. Lockhart after the meeting for a few minutes, just to kind of clarify the record a little bit. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, and good work, Councilman McCormick, on Mini Park. Good work on bringing that idea and the naming of the park after Miss Seymour. Congratulations. Good job. Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the last month, I've attended a lot of different seminars, ethics issues, Robert's Rule, campaign skills. It's been a very busy month. I also went downtown for the Police Benevolent Association's Fallen Officer Tribute at the Stephen Clark building. Quite touching. There was a lot of families from Metro-Dade that had just recently lost their loved one in an accident on the turnpike, one of the officers. So it was very touching. This Labor Day weekend, the City of Homestead held a DUI checkpoint. Over 40 officers from, I believe it was 17 officers from different agencies throughout South Florida. Doral Police Department, South Miami Police Department, North Miami Police Department, Coral Gables, Sweetwater, Key Biscayne, and the U.S. Customs attended this checkpoint. Over the course of 4 or 5 hours, I believe it was, the police department passed through 1,001 vehicles, a total of 12 arrests, 3 for DUI, 2 felony, and 1 fugitive. 185 citations were written, 15 cars were towed. It was a very busy night for the police department down there. It was just trying to make it safer for all the residents. Also attended a presentation on human trafficking at the Michael Williams Center. I have some posters I'll set in the back also. If anybody has any questions about it, there's a task force through the City of Homestead Police Department that they can call. And then I'd like to address the article here. Every time I'm called by a resident, I take it serious. I go out and do what I have to do to make sure that it's a safe neighborhood for our city. That day I was called, and I acted on it that day. Whenever I'm called, I don't drop by. I'm by that park every couple days. My kids, Dad, drop me off before you go by the park. No, son, we have to go by that park and make sure everything's going good. Make sure that people aren't doing illegal things. Make sure that the noises aren't loud. That night I sat at the park. 6 different officers went by. That's not mentioned in your article. 6 different officers went by from 3 hours, not 2 hours. Yeah, I'm talking to you because you mislead the people when you don't put all the facts in when I told you everything. I sat in the office and told you.
Excuse me.
We sat there for me and the officer sat there for 3.5 hours.
No back and forth.
You're not.
No back and forth.
That's what I stated in the officer, with Officer Chong, not Kong, Chong. And the detective's name was Hosch, H-O-S-C-H. We spelled it for you. These are things that mislead the public. We take things very seriously on this council. I'm out there till 11, 12 o'clock. Miss Beasley, I agree with you on your light issue. I was there the night you called the police about complaining about the light. I asked the city manager to go by and look at it. I think it's a little too bright on your house. Your house only, because for some reason your house is very, that street light on 4th Avenue is very bright on your house. I agree with you on that. I want our guys to look at that to see what we can do to better accommodate you. There are some issues out there, and we are addressing them. When you make me look like I'm the bad guy here, I am out there doing everything I possibly can to make it safe. Ask the chief how many officers are there on a daily basis now because of what I have asked for. Let's print the truth in everything that is said, not just what looks good in the paper and what will get headlines. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Manager, you had comment?
Mayor, council members, I just want to reply, Councilwoman Lopez, and you said, very nice things about me and my staff, and I just want you to know that if it wasn't for all the council members sitting here today, just the ones sitting here today, this would be an impossible job to do. I can tell you, Mayor, and I know I had discussion with you before I became a city manager. I said, Mayor, you know what type of manager I will be. And she said, that's exactly why I wanted you to be a city manager. I am puzzled. I am stunned that when you try to do a good job, your boss will not be happy with you. One boss. 6 of you are happy with my performance. I promise you I will do the right thing for the citizens of the city of Homestead and for you. My staff here, we went through so much changes, and I can tell you they do an outstanding job. I know they talk about me and Joanna. I can tell you last night I was communicating with Joanna up to 1 o'clock at night, just trying to prepare for today. So it's not like when we leave the office, it's we're going celebrating and drinking margaritas. And I can say the same thing about the chief and the same thing about the rest of the staff. Look at Robert Landon. He was at the park. He does this all the time. We have events happening in the city, and I just want to tell you, if it wasn't for you, all of you sitting here, and for the courage and the leadership you show, my job would be an impossible task, and I would have not lost it for one day. And that's why I am proud to serve the city council members at the dais today.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you. I have some appointments. I have appointments to the Homestead Tourism Committee, Natalie Salas, Melody Tyler, and Brian Conessa. May I please have a motion to approve these 3? Second. They've been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes carry. Thank you. We have reappointments. Homestead Educational Facilities Benefit District, me. I've been the one on the EFBD board since its inception, since it was the very beginning, and so it's now natural, since I know the entire history of the board, that I remain on the board. Believe me, I would love to just exit stage left and put somebody else there, but it would take about a month to brief you on the history of the EFBD. So I would like a motion to...
I move to approve Mayor Linda Bell for the EFBD.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes carry. Thank you so much. To the Police Pension Board, James Pierce. May I have a motion to that effect?
I'll second it.
Jim's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
thank you. General Employees Pension Board, the board that I chair also, Vern West Copeland, Dennis Maytan, and Evelyn Simpson. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Those three names have been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes carry. Thank you. I would like to announce some openings. We have an opening for the Homestead Community Relations Board. We have 3 seats. I would like to fill those seats so that we can start meeting in about a month. Homestead Community Image Advisory Board, we have 1 seat open. The Education Committee, we have a voting member, 1 seat open.
Excuse me, Mayor. It is for a resident seat, the education.
Correct. Thank you so much. 1 resident voting seat. Homestead Planning and Zoning Board, we have 2 seats because of the resignations of certain people to run for council. Also, I will try to go quickly. It's so funny how now we think that 9:20 is late when the council meetings used to go on till like forever and ever and ever and ever. So I think it's important, though, for our constituents to know what we're doing, what we're about. I also attended the 9/11 observance with Sauk South and General Pagan, and many of us here attended the 9/11 Freedom Walk, and we attended the POW MIO breakfast with General Binger. One of the things I was very proud to do, and I still wonder, like, why was I asked to do it? I was asked to go to North Miami Beach and give opening remarks for an event called Afrikandu. And the president of the president of Malawi was there and speaking, and I met with His Excellency, the President of Malawi, and then the United States Ambassador to Africa also was there, and I presented both of them with a proclamation, and why the Homestead Mayor was asked to go all the way to Miami Beach when they had a Miami Beach mayor there, I'm not sure, but I was very honored and very proud to represent the city of Homestead and all of South Bay, Florida on behalf of Afrikandu, and it was very, very interesting to see what they're doing. And I believe this is also possibly in relationship to the bringing of AFRICOM to our city, which is African Command, which we're working on as we speak. So that was exciting. Other things, Career Day at the Waterstone School. I also was invited to be on This Week in South Florida with Michael Putney, and I was on a week ago Sunday. And I was also invited with Miami Mayor Manny Diaz and the Mayor of Fort Lauderdale. So we had the 2 biggest cities in all of South Florida and the Mayor of Homestead. So I'm not sure why either, but I just said yes. And so we were able to discuss our budget challenges. And I tell you what was very interesting. In fact, Michael Putney, at the end of the show, he really complimented Homestead. And when they talked about their woes and they talked about the pension and how the pensions are bankrupting the cities and how it's so tough, I said, well, we changed that. And they're like, why? But we changed it. We ended the pension system and we went to 401A. Like, you're kidding me. And these other mayors are staring at me like, what? I said, yeah, we went to the 401A plan, which is defined. We went from defined benefits to defined contributions. And then they talked about the challenges. They talked about the fact that 50% of their city has like salaries of over 100,000 when ours is about 3.5%. Out of over 400 employees that make 100,000 or more. We are such a fiscally conservative and frugal city, so I want that to be noted as well. But anyway, I was very proud to represent you guys, to represent Homestead on the Michael Putney show. We did things, I think everyone here right now was at the Dick Conley opening. We did a Hampton Inn ribbon cutting. I spoke to AARP. Went to a presentation on human trafficking that's occurring all over the country, but human trafficking is a very real problem, so that was an excellent presentation on what to look for. Also, I want to congratulate the First Baptist Church of Homestead. They celebrated their 100th birthday in Homestead, and it's the second oldest church in Homestead, right behind First United Methodist Church of Homestead. So I went and presented a proclamation to that church on behalf of the city, and then stayed and had lunch with them. Of course, nothing better than Baptist food. You can tell I like the food. Also, I was very pleased that we had the Robert's Rules of Order workshop. And I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. Many people are thrilled. We opened it up to the entire community, and it was about a half a day long, and we're going to bring them back next year to do an update and kind of continue where they started. And it was very, very good for all of the people who sit on different boards, the boards of the city, and other organizations, like the Community Concerts Association, like the different boards around town. So it was very, very good, and I was very proud to do that and just get that taken care of as one more thing that we had promised to do. So that concludes my business. I hope that you have all heard the openings that we have posted, and I see my manager wants to say another few words. Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, I just want to say, after your interview for Channel 10, one of the commissioners in the city of Miami, I don't know if you heard it on National Public Radio yesterday, he's proposing an ordinance to exactly what we did with the 401A, and also to have, general employees on that plan, and also senior management. That's something we did through negotiations, and it's in place.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight and bearing with us till 9:20, because we started about 45 minutes late. So really, we're done about 8:45. Thank you so much for attending here tonight. God bless you. Meeting is adjourned.